Again! Oh, you can't even see the background screen because it's so close. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And honestly, what is there to say anymore about this game? You've all heard of it. You probably have all seen it. And hopefully you've all played it, actually, because seeing the speedrun before actually having experienced this game yourself is a little bit of a disservice to you. So even though I don't want you to not watch this and donate to charity, maybe look away at one point or another to not get completely spoiled of it. Well, we'll see about that. We also have like about 2 hours to talk about the game, so why don't we just go ahead and get into the swing of things while I go ahead and just override the save file. This will be any percent glitchless new game extreme. So we'll actually be playing the game on the hardest difficulty, which technically means, or most of the time means, that the enemy HP is doubled, the parry and dodge timings are a little bit tighter. Everything else is basically the same though. But doing it from a fresh save file, so, no New Game Plus shenanigans, no glitches whatsoever, because glitches are cheating, we don't cheat here. And we are basically ready to go. So once this text box disappears, that is when time will start. So let's go ahead in 3, 2, 1, go! So I'm playing this on a PlayStation 5, which also means that we will be playing on the most current patch, because that is, like a consensus from the community for the rules, because I can't really down patch on consoles. So we all opted to, take the dive and play on the most current patch that is released, just so we have an even playing field across all of the runners. Now, one thing you can already see, like, if you go to this little windmill here, what you can actually do is you can jump up there and then go all the way down there, and you can see the harbor already there, and that saves about 3 minutes in all of the other categories of the game. But because we are playing Glitchless, we're not supposed to do this. Or we're not allowed to do this, let's put it that way. So we have to go the long way around here. But that is like one of the most run-breaking things to happen, actually. That a lot of runners will reset over and over until they get this, because it's like literally 10 seconds or so into the run, and it saves about 2 to 3 minutes. So, yeah, it's kind of important that you get this at this point if you're actually shooting for a world record. You don't have to do it if you just want to run the game, but it's definitely one of the things that you see a lot of runners agonize over and spend a lot of time getting. And basically, Act 1 is all about coin flips at this point. There's a lot of RNG involved in the early stages of the run. Thankfully, later on, that will diminish quite a bit. For now, we're having a bit of a friendly duel with Mael right here. She sees that Gustav is tense about what is to come, so they are trying to loosen up a bit. So what we want to do here, we want to attack Mael twice and counter-attack her first move, and then just parry 2 of the hits, dodge the third. And, since it's a friendly competition, we're just gonna go ahead and blast electricity into her face. Because that's obviously what you do, in a friendly competition. You charge up your mechanical arm and just blast 100,000 volts or something in the face of your opponent for educational purposes. Who knows? Anyway, it's kind of important that we win this fight, actually, because it gives us a color of Lumina. Lumina are basically, or the colors of Lumina specifically, give your characters Lumina points, which you can use to equip like passive abilities, the Lumina, in the game. We need 4 of those colors of Luminas throughout the run. It's not that much, but it's just nice that winning this tutorial fight actually gives us one of them, so we don't have to go out of our way later to pick up another. We're now playing as Sophie for just a little while. Sophie is about to head to her gommage, and if you know anything about that game, it's a pretty sad event. It's like a very defining moment in the story, like for this whole society, really. This yearly gommage of everybody that has turned to a certain age. And we already have a bit of a donation coming in. So Sid, if you want to go ahead and just read this real quick while I just make my way to the harbor here.
Absolutely. We have 15 euros from It's Page __ saying, "Hi, Page here. Just wanted to donate, saying hi and excited for the upcoming runs. Good luck to all upcoming runners. Much love." Heart emoji.
Thank you
very much. I would also like to remind everybody that we do have some donation incentives going on for this particular run right here. For instance, you can dictate which character Aeshmah will be using on the overworld. Currently, there is no selections yet, so it's up to Aeshmah to select itself. But if you want to change it over the course of the run, go ahead, donate for it. And we also have the donation incentive for the Verso ending, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the true ending.
I think there is a lot of discussion, you know, without trying to go into spoilers too much, but I think there's a lot of discussion, like in the community, or between everybody who has played this game, like what is the true ending? Because of course there can be only one true ending to a game, right? Only one canon thing, but a lot of people, at least that I have talked to, prefer the Verso ending over, well, the other, without, you know, again, trying to spoil it too much at this point, at least. Which I personally agree with. I personally like that ending a lot more than the other for various reasons. But obviously for the speedrun, the other ending is the fastest, or the faster one to go for, which you will very clearly see why once we get a bit closer to that point. For now the Gommage has happened. The paintress has painted the number 33 on the obelisk, which means that everybody aged 33 or older has now Gommage. They basically died. That is why we set out on, you know, Expedition 33 to try and kill the paintress, so she never will paint death again. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, we're just going through the early stage of the game. There's a lot of cutscenes, you know, there's a lot of setting up, and I actually quite enjoyed this part of the game specifically because it really, you know, makes you care for the characters. Like everything that's happening, and like really builds up the tension of what they are going up against and what's to come. Like, I think I played a lot of games so far in my life, and I have to admit, it's getting hard for me to really like emphasize a lot of characters that I come across because most of the time they just come across for me as caricatures of a certain character trait. Not of this game, though. Like, these actually, you know, feel like people, if that makes sense. Like, you really care, you really root for them whenever something happens. And that is so important for the overall, you know, development of the story, I feel. Which is really great. Like, I know, I'm not trying to necessarily downplay, like, say, the Final Fantasy games, but it's been quite hard for me to really, like, you know, emphasize with their plights during their stories because it's come so far out of that field in a way. Again, not trying to shit on Final Fantasy. There's a lot of other games that come to mind as well. It's just, you know, like obviously the closest contender because I think a lot of people call this like Final Fantasy because it's like the closest thing that probably France has put out that rivals actual Final Fantasy when it comes to its popularity.
I'm more of a Suikoden then, enjoying.
Fair enough. I mean, it's also a good series, but, you know, again, the same thing. Like, Suikoden is, like, known for having, like, a vast array of characters, and barely any of them get, like, any character development whatsoever, right? Like, it's mostly about getting the 108 stars together and, you know, having fun with them gameplay-wise, but I would say that probably 70 of those characters, probably more, are really not that important for the story now, are they? But anyway, yeah, this game just does so much with so little. Like, it has a really strong cast, like it has a really focused cast, and it's really one of those games also where it's really enjoyable to play with all of the characters because they have definitive strengths and weaknesses that you can really just, you know, mold to your preferences, how you want to play the game, which actually will be a thing in the speedrun as well, as we will be using every character at least once at some point. Certain ones more than others, for sure, but, you know, everybody has at least one spot in the limelight where I get absolutely trapped by the little obstacles on the way here. Like, if there's one big criticism that I would personally leverage against the game, is like all these little bits and bobs lying on the ground that you just constantly get stuck on and lose just a little bit of time, which, of course, you know, in a speedrun really starts adding up after all. We're getting into our second mandatory battle here on the continent area now against the Portier. We really want Looney to crit here? What? Calling it into existence. That is a 5% chance, by the way, to happen. Otherwise, if you don't get the crit here, you have to counter-attack the enemy. It loses about, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, so it's not the big time loss that you would really like reset over the game. But the run is not that optimized just yet. It's just really nice to actually get that in a marathon run. God damn it. Which also means that the RNG will just completely screw me over for the rest of it, you know, because it just gave me this little morsel right here, right now. But now, we are actually using our Lumina converter, which is an invention of Gustav, the main character of the game, that makes it so that you can convert these enemies into Pictos that you can then equip as Luminas, which basically are your passive abilities. Here we're picking up another Picto. Critical Burn, which is going to be a very important Picto for a vast majority of the run here. And we got the jump glitch. Ah, great. Normally this guy right here is supposed to jump over there, but because I skipped the trigger, he doesn't. So I now have to... Well, I was going to go up there anyway. It's just going to be important for a little bit later in the run. Lune, please. Oh, come on. Like, this normally saves time if you don't completely bungle up. Like I said, you know, the game giveth and the game taketh away. So apparently this will be one of those runs where I get good RNG, but absolutely messy execution. So we'll see how that goes. Going to shoot these guys in their weak spot for a bit of damage. And then Gustav hits this guy. Gonna finish them off with Ice Lance. We don't have to go for all the perfects because Lune is able to kill that guy just barely by not getting the 1.2 multiplier there. It's gonna scroll down my notes a little bit, just so I don't forget about things. And now we are just basically strolling through the spring meadows here a little bit further. So Sid, if you want to go ahead and read that donation, that'd be great.
Sure thing. We have 20 euros from Hapkainenama saying, feeling a bit ooh today. Exhausted after yesterday, but right now I'm feeling the most wee I'm having all week. Good luck, Aish. May the RNG bosses show you their easy attacks. Also, my, what lovely feats.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, if you want to have Lune be on screen like more than the other characters, you know, donate money towards that incentive. It will be running throughout the whole game, so all of you or guys can be absolutely wee during all of this. But yeah, this is the first fight against you three Wallisters. Two of them will attack you first. We hope that they will go ahead and attack Gustav. One attack is actually pretty good already. Let's see what the second one... Also on Gustav. All right, cool. There's like a couple of outcomes that can happen here. You need... Or these enemies, or this enemy specifically on the left here has 81 HP. You have 4 AP to use, which deals 16 damage. So just doing 4 shots wouldn't kill him. So you need one of the first character, or for the first Wallisters to actually hit Gustav at least once, so you can get up to 5 AP, sorry. And then you would have to hit the weak spot, and there's a couple body shot to kill them. But if both of the Wallisters attack Gustav at that point, he has enough AP to just completely unload into the third one and just kill him outright. You don't even have to, you know, aim for the weak spot on it anymore, which is, you know, a little bit of an optimization. But again, it is RNG, which of the characters get attacked by the Wallisters, so there's just nothing. But again, it's not a reset point for the game just yet. But, you know, it's just one of these small optimizations, right, that you want to go for, like that crit that we got with Lune on the Portier there. But again, it's a 5% chance, so I don't think I've seen anybody really go for that consistently. Because it would just completely demoralize you if you were to try again and not get it. Because coming up is the first big boss in the game. And oh my god, he is a beast. Like, he is definitely one of the major pain points and reset spots in the whole run. And nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, likes this guy. But before we fight him, we equip the Pictos on Gustav here. I turn around the wrong way, and oh god, he ran into me. Alright, we'll see how that does. I hope Gustav still goes first. He doesn't. Oh, this is already off the rails. Now, normally you would go first because, you know, we get the jump on the enemies here. I guess it'll be fine. Yeah, normally Gustav would have just been able to kill these guys. So we would have to... Oh. Well, then not Lune's turn yet. Okay. I'm paying attention. This fight is normally supposed to go a little bit quicker, but it is what it is. I was turning the wrong direction there, and then he was able to get the jump on me, and I didn't pay him enough attention to the turn order, but it's fine. Most importantly is that we got through that fight unscathed, because whenever you go through a fight without getting hit at all, you get a 20% experience boost, which is important in the early stages of the run, so you hit like certain levels at certain points. Heal up, and then we go into the first big boss fight of the game, which will be Evake. And like I said before, this is like a major reset point for everybody running this, so let's see how this goes. We want Evake to cast spells at the start, because if he uses spells, that means that both characters will get the counter attack ripping through his shields right here. Then we'll use Gustav to use Powerful, which gives us a damage buff. We don't have to go for both perfects because it does absolutely nothing for it. Then we shoot his weak spot and set him ablaze because that increases our crit chance with Gustav because of the critical burn pick though. Casting another spell is fine because we still need more AP on Gustav. So whenever Gustav gets targeted, that's great. We absolutely do want that to happen. Because we also want to be able to use overcharge later with a full charge of 10. So we're already at 9, that means we should get it when we need it. Perfect. Critical summon minions here, he always does that once he reaches a certain health threshold. So gonna keep burning. Now we don't want to kill the ads, and I will explain why a little bit. Gustav's third turn, so we will shoot down to 2 AP.
Take him down.
Another marking shot. And we want the mark to stay on Evake for now. Again, just dodging the attacks. I do not want to counterattack and kill these little guys. Throw a tint over to Gustav, and now we need Gustav to crit when it's his turn to end this fight immediately. So we have like a 50% chance for overcharge to crit, and it's out of my hand here.
For those who come off.
Ah, we got it! Okay, this is completely out of my hand. Wait, did he survive? He survived it! Are you kidding me? Like in all of my practice, I never got the crit, so I had to do this anyway. And now the bastard actually... Oh my god.
Feel the burn.
He has to be just a sliver of health left. Come on, my guy. What is this? I'm not... Oh my god. Okay, you can see at the top right of Evake's health bar how much damage I was missing the next time I attack him. So, you know, watch the number going up when I shoot him and watch the top right of his health bar. Let's see how much damage actually goes through. Yeah, that was 40. He had 40 health left. You see, you know, I can't shoot him again here. It doesn't deal any damage anymore because the guy is dead. I just have to end my turn. I was 40 HP off killing him with that. Oh my lord. That is like one of the things that I want to say the newest patch introduced because like this fight is very tight when it comes to damage. So I was probably like, you know, another crit or something off at some point, or I could have probably do a couple more shots with Lune, something to push me over that threshold that I was missing there. But yeah, like the fight is just very tight when it comes to damage because they fixed something with the mark and immolation
Message said
combo there. So
weird
immolation does deal a little bit less damage when mark has been applied, and because there was a bug apparently, like it was dealing too much damage previously, so you know they lowered it a bit again, and ever since then this fight has been very tight when it comes to dealing damage to it. But yeah, as you see, that was like the major reset point, because normally if you get that crit with the overcharge, right, the fight should end. Like Evake should just die at this point, because otherwise, what we saw happened, where you have to go through more turns of the fight, where he, you know, powers up, he gains more shields, the ads start attacking again. You have to go through more of your attack animations and so on and so forth. And it just adds so much time so early in the run. Like, just by not killing him through that crit, you lose at least 40 seconds or so, probably more, as you just saw here. And yeah, because it's just such a massive time loss, a lot of people, basically everybody, will just reset over this over and over until they get through it. Now, the bad thing about this is not the only RNG point this early in the game. Like most, if not all of the boss fights in Act 1 are like of a similar matter, where you have to get crits on certain attacks to be able to end the fight early, because what crits do in this game is they give you like 50% more damage on the ability that you're using.
Looks like a different species.
And once you get our third character here, we will do a particular setup with our abilities,
Those mines.
which means that we need to crit with a specific ability, like basically every time to be order to go through those fights fast. And yeah, if you don't get that, you just keep losing time and even more time. And yeah, it makes the early game like very volatile when it comes to that stuff, because, you know, I quickly explained what the windmill skip in Lumiere does, and this is, again, like a very hard thing to do that a lot of people would just reset over and over again. Then you finally get the windmill skip. You go into a Vig, you don't get the crit, and you just reset anyway. And it's definitely, you know, a bit of a battle of attrition in your own mind at that point. Like, talk to any runner that has done a lot of runs in those categories, and they all tell you, like, a Vig is like the worst thing to happen. Apart from windmill skip, if you're doing restricted or unrestricted. But yeah, we are about to get our third permanent character in the party, which is going to be Mayel. And Mayel would basically be our damage dealer for a little while here. Because, well, out of the 3 characters that we have, she just deals the most damage with her abilities, because her, I want to say, gimmick is very strong with her stances. Like, she has a stance that just makes it so that any of her abilities that you use while in that stance deal 200% more damage, which is massive. Probably don't even have to say that.
A message.
We are going to switch over the Pictos to Mayel here. I'm just going to do this very carefully, so I actually do it correctly. Another thing we have to do here, we have to reload that save. One of the last patches of the game introduced like a bug, or at least we think it's a bug, where we cannot interact with the flag as long as there's like on-screen dialogue happening. Which, yeah, it's not that great, but, you know, as long as we only have to reload the last recent save, it's not that big of an issue, it's just a bit annoying. Grabbing a couple of new abilities here for Mayel and Lune, which we will be needing in a bit. And then we get into our next... I'm hesitant to call it a boss fight, it's more like a tutorial fight against a curator, because he really only has one attack that he does over and over again, which teaches you the jump counter attack, like right here. You just jump and you counter attack. Just making sure that I'm doing the right actions here, looking at my notes. And this is basically the combo that we're going for. We're going to do marking shot into Mayel's per se, and, you know, the fight is already over. Like, that is like a very potent combo. Like, basically everything will revolve around Mayel either applying offensive switch onto the enemies, which basically lowers their defense, applies defenseless when Mayel uses it on an enemy, or we will apply burn onto the enemy via Lune, and then use Swift Stride in order to put Mayel into Virtuo stance, which has the 200% damage multiplier, and then marking shot the enemy into per se from Mayel again. It just deals a bunch of damage. You basically already are able to get to the damage limit through that. And it will make all the fights go pretty quickly. And keep in mind, this is expert difficulty, right? This is the hardest difficulty the game has to offer if you're not putting any other modifiers on your run, because the developers actually introduced that in one of the previous patches. Oops. We are doing... Oh yeah, percent. Right, let's change it a little bit. Once you get to a certain part in the story, you are able to put like, yeah, I want to call them modifiers on your run, where you introduce like different damage caps. Like the initial damage cap is like quadruple 9, right? Like you cannot deal 10,000 damage in one attack, only 9,999. That eventually gets broken, like completely, and you can deal just billions of damage in one attack. But you can also opt to increase either the enemy's health. Right, this guy isn't jumping down. Right. Because, yeah, we got the trigger glitch where the enemies are not jumping down. I was supposed to take that fight against the guy up there. Right, so we have to be a little bit of a reroute. Oh, that's great. Let me think how we can offset. Like, I can take this fight. It won't be as good. Of course, we would get that glitch during a live run. Why wouldn't we? Right. How do we do this again? It's also the wrong turn order now, which isn't helping matters like at all. Oh, right. Like that is the one thing that I have to admit I was not preparing for. We should still be able to kill that guy. It just takes a little bit longer. The problem will more be like, are we still able to get the necessary experience? I'm trying to play this a little bit more defensively now because I still want to get the XP bonus, obviously. But I might be off the XP routing for a while now, which will be a problem. I just can't go to the other flag. I will pick up a little bit more money now because I will probably also be off money routing. But the thing is, like, normally these enemies are supposed to jump down. It's only mostly a problem like if you actually trigger the enemies jumping down and then do immediately a run afterwards. The trigger doesn't get reset until you reset the game. Now I've only, started up the game. I didn't do a run before this. But it can still happen because the triggers are very small, so that you sometimes just walk over them or jump over them or walk around them. So they actually don't trigger and enemies still don't jump down, which is, it is an issue, let me tell you. It will be an issue, probably. Now, hopefully I should still have enough experience to put everybody on the right levels. Okay, I guess I just don't interact with this flag. What is going on here? I mean, there should be another flag just right around the corner here. But I will need to increase my character's stats. Also, grab some abilities. So, I guess we're doing this live. Alright, let's see here. Am I still able to put everybody? No, you are a level too low. This is not good. Alright. Yeah. Alright, I guess I just gotta keep this in mind. Now, it's most importantly that we have the agility values at the right spots. They're still fine. Okay, it's basically Luna and Gustav that are missing a level. Should be fine. I mean, the bad thing is that obviously we will be dealing a little bit less damage, which can be an issue. And he also doesn't have enough Lumina to equip that engine. Yeah, okay. Alright, well, I mean, the only bad thing about this now is that we have a little bit less damage going into this fight, but probably don't need it because we just crit everything, right? 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 We're living a bit of hopium right now, I'm not gonna lie. Because Goblo is another, he's not a hard fight, per se. Get it? But we do need Mael to crit her per se. She has about a 50% crit chance with them. But the problem is we're already hurting for damage in this fight, and me not being at the right level with my characters doesn't exactly instill me with confidence that this will be a fast fight. So instead of a 4-turn, it's probably already will be a 5-turn fight no matter what I do. But we will see once Mael uses per se if she actually gets the crit or not. Music is great though. So this will be like our main rotation going forward with the abilities that we're using. Applying defenseless through exposing attack. You know what, actually get a couple of shots in. Why not? And then crit, please. Hey, okay. So we still have a chance. At certain HP thresholds, Goblet will summon these flowers. The red ones will increase his attack power, the blue ones will give him shields. Dragging out the fight a bit, and the lower his HP is, the more of these flowers he will summon. Which of course we don't want. Now, do we go all in? You know what? We're gonna risk it for the biscuit.
For those who come up.
Okay, no crit. No. Can shoot him a little bit. So as long as Mael crits once more with her next per se, we should be fine. Again, living on that hopium.
Take him down.
And she did not crit. But you can see, like, it was close. Like, he's very low, but yeah, he should be dead at this point. Again, he didn't. That's probably like the little bit of damage that we're missing because we weren't able to put enough might into Gustav and Lune there. Okay, there we go. But yeah, like, you know, with the way the run is going at this point already, like, probably, you know, if you're gunning for world record, definitely, but also if you just want to get PB, like, people would probably already reset like 3 times over at this point. But that is like the nature of this run. It is very fast-paced. It's very cool to do, but the RNG can just be relentless, especially at the start of the run, the first couple of boss fights here. But luckily, we are starting to get to a point where that won't be an issue anymore. And while we're making our way through the next couple of things here, Sid, if there's anything you want to plug, go ahead.
Absolutely, I do want to point you all towards that Verso ending incentive once again. We are currently sitting at 100 out of the 300 that we need, and that does need to be met by the end of the run. So please do keep those donations coming. Aside from that, I would also say this is probably going to be a content run. So if you catch an unforgettable moment, clip it, and you might see it featured on our socials. Speaking of socials, stay updated with our events by following us on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram under the handle BSG Marathon. You can get behind-the-scenes looks at the event, or stay up to date with the latest news on our marathons, events, and more. And you can also check out the VODs of our previous events on our YouTube channel over at youtube.com/BSG Marathon.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, we're now in the Ancient Sanctuary, making our way to Gestrel Village. We'll hopefully get a little bit of support in order to continue on our journey here. But yeah, the next couple of enemies coming up, they are, well, a thing. Like, especially this guy. This is just a normal enemy that has been beefed up to, I want to say, mini-boss status. But he's actually harder than the boss that we're going to face at the end of this area. Let's see what he does. He slams his shield. Okay. Like, this is an attack that is incredibly hard to parry for some reason. Like, it has a very tight timing. It's like one of the better attacks that he can do, but doesn't mean it's good by any stretch of the imagination. Because you have to be very quick with your reaction if you want to parry it. But the clunky combo, that's the one that you do not want to see, because it just goes on forever, and for some reason, it also has this 4th hit, like right at the end there. Which, funny thing, the boss uses the same attack, but he only gets like 3 hits out of it. Like, what is wrong with that? Like, why? But hey, Mael is critting. Mael hasn't crit for me, like, at all, doing basically all of my practice. Like, every single practice run I've done for this event, Mael was just not critting. She would maybe get one crit in a fight where I needed 2 at least to make it go fast. And now she's just about critting everything here. What is wrong with you, Mael? I guess she knows that she is, on stage right here at BSG, and she has to pull her weight or something. But yeah, like, this is like a very confusing layout that you will see the first time you're here. You're probably gonna get lost. But there's a little bit of a trick, because if you just look at anything that is lit up, like, these torches or the lanterns, they will actually just point you the critical path forward. And that is actually true for basically any area in the game. If you don't know where to go, like if you want to go off the beaten path and explore to pick up more items and what it is, just look if there's any little lanterns, torches, again, whatever it is that gives you a bit of light, and okay, that's the path that I want to go down to go to the end of the area. So just explore everything else before that. And now we are going to go up against Ultimate Sucker Patati. Banger soundtrack, by the way. One of my favorite tracks in the game. Now let's see what he does. Okay, Gustav is a good target. That's not so great though that I got hit there, but yeah, I'll be fine. It's not like we're already low in experience or anything, right?
Let me help.
It'll just be a low XP run. Figure it out somehow. Okay. Yeah, well, that was a little bit too early there. I guess I just really wanted to reset that fight to get the experience bonus. No biggie. You have about a 9-frame window running on 60 FPS to get your parries in, so it's a pretty tight window to get that. Like, it's somewhat lenient, but you know, you have to do that for a lot of attacks throughout the whole game. Oh, I guess we're doing that again. Okay, that's better. I do like that. Good thing we restarted the fight. But okay, we want to apply burn. Then apply powerful. Now the thing with powerful is if you don't get the first perfect, it will only buff the character that you targeted with the ability. And then, you know, if you get the first perfect, it will apply to the whole group, which is of course better. And then the second one is kinda whatever. Okay, Lune is good. That gives me a little bit more leeway because Ultimate Sakpatate has a weak spot on his arm there. You can see the glowing spot. So that is why we equipped a Lighter on Lune. Because if you hit him with his weakness, that is fire, he will get into this staggered animation and expose the arm there. That we can then shoot it 3 times and, you know, get rid of his shield because he loses his arm. We are... Yes. Crit, please! Yay! Woo! And as you can see, you know, we already hit damage cap at this point in the game. We're basically only in the 3rd area. And that is just kind of how busted this game's combat system really is. Like, if you just put the right combination of Pictos and Luminas and whatever on your characters, you're just gonna completely blast through everything. But it's actually kind of awesome. Like, it's very malleable to whatever you want to do with it. Now, this enemy is, like, resistant to lightning damage. We still want to use Overcharge here just to stun him, so he doesn't get his 2 next turns, so we can just, you know, get on with the fight a little bit quicker. I'm just gonna go ahead and unload a little bit in here just to add a little bit more damage, because, again, we are slightly under level at this point. So hopefully another crit. Nope. And as you can see, like, he's barely survived that. Like, if he weren't missing those couple points in might from being under level, he probably would have already died even without the crit. But that's kind of the thing that I have to keep in mind now going forward, that we are slightly on level. I will probably put in another fight at some point just to offset the level difference. But it will be a while until we can actually, you know, find a fight that I can easily do. I probably should have gone back in Flying Waters at some point to kill some of the Demineers, but oh well, it is what it is at this point. But we got through it somewhat unscathed. We are now into Gestural Village, where we hope to get some support because we have to cross the sea to get to the obelisk where the paintress is, because, you know, all of our boats got smashed and whatever. So that is not bueno. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this with Mayal just to make sure that the next couple of fights go well. No, it's more over there, and then we'll also... No. Rain of Fire. Rain of Fire, not the other one. That would have been... Okay, everybody of you, scream at me after the tournament to go to the shop, please, because I keep forgetting that for some reason.
It's really a village of Gestrals.
Because the routing here changed a little bit. Normally we do the shopping before going to Goldgray here. But since you know, the money route and everything changed a little bit, we now do the shopping after the tournament because the shopkeeper here has a very important picto that we absolutely want for the speedrun. But first of all, we have to go through the tournament because, you know, Goldgray, like, the Gestrals are all about, you know, strength and fighting and whatnot. Like, all of the disputes are resolved through violence, really. That is what it's gonna be. So they want us to, you know, prove our worth in the tournament before they offer us their help here. The tournament is another bit, it's not an RNG point really, but it is a reset point because you have to win the last fight in the tournament. There's no way to reset. So the first 3 fights are, well, kinda whatever. I want to say, obviously, you still need to win to progress through the tournament, but it's no matter if you actually lose to these guys. You lose time, obviously. But, you know, you can't just retry the fight. That is not true for the 4th fight in the tournament, which is the last one. Like, whoever wins that one, either you or the enemy will win the tournament. And the problem with that is that technically you could still progress with the game even if you lose. It's even faster to lose than winning it. However, if you win it with Mayel specifically, and that is important, you get a very good weapon for Mayal, which is basically the best weapon that you can get in the entire game, and you want that weapon for the speedrun. There's just no way around it anymore. When we first started running that category, or when I started running this category, I was trying to not have to rely on that weapon. You know, I was just losing the tournament to not have to go and pick it up. But it just lost so much time over the course of the rest of the run that, yeah, even as a safety strat, it wasn't really worth it. So, yeah, we all have to go ahead and win the tournament. These guys are thankfully pretty easy. Like, they will always use the same attack in their first 2 turns, so you kind of know what they're gonna deal with. They will, however, change up their attack patterns going forward if for some reason the fight takes you longer than 2 turns. Fire, that should be that. Okay, now we're on to the 4th fight, and again, I have to win this one. Actually, wait do that. This is a little bit of a safety healer. Seeing how the run went so far, I'm not really trusting myself, but it'll be fine. Just please don't use marking card. That's all I'm asking, Ciel. Fucking Christ. Even though I can perfect dodge that attack nowadays, I just still don't trust myself. Like, that attack has just messed me over so often. That I rather personally still dodge it to be able to make sure that, you know, I'm getting through that somewhat unscathed. But, yeah, that should be the kill. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we made it through it. Nice.
This is your regularly scheduled shopping reminder.
Thank you. Much appreciated. One thing first, though, you have to talk to Golgra. You know, we won the tournament. We still need the information because we need a password out of it to be able to get into Esquire's Nest, which is going to be the next area. And it's definitely never, ever happened to me or any other runner that we forgot to talk to Golgra here. Went to the next area, couldn't enter. And I was like, But yeah, this is a shopping trip. Thank you for the reminder. Much appreciated. That initially we did before the tournament because we could then use the fights in the tournament to learn the Lumina of the Picto. But since we don't have enough money anymore before the tournament, we now have to do it after. We're gonna buy 2 polished Chroma Catalyst and Critical Moment. Now, Critical Moment is critical for the speedrun because what Critical Moment does is if you are, yeah, just right here, if your health is below 30%, you get a 50% increased critical chance. And with all the other pictures that you have right now, we can actually make it so that we hit 100% crit chance on one character for now, which, you know, gets at least the whole, well, critical hit chance fiasco, I want to say, out of the way. Because we can just, you know, guarantee that we are gonna crit our attacks with at least one character, which is a huge deal because from now on, we basically are at set damage values. Like, there is no random range whenever you do an attack. Like, they are set numbers. You know, if you play like other RPGs like Final Fantasy or something, you will always see your damage numbers go up and down a little bit because there's like an RNG modifier attached to everything. That is not the case in this game. Like, your attack, if you just repeatedly attack under the same circumstances, you know, the same attack with the same passive abilities on the same enemy with the same buffs and whatnot, you will always deal consistent damage. And that is great because it makes everything more consistent going forward if we just are able to hit that 100% crit chance. It doesn't really matter for the next fight coming up, which is kind of funny, but it will be a godsend for the rest. Okay, let me just quickly go through the menu here. Yeah, you get that, and then you get the missing might that you weren't able to get before. You get up to 32. Okay, everybody is at the level that they should be now, which doesn't necessarily mean that we alleviated our experience problems. Probably still a little bit behind. It's just that we caught up at this point for now, but I think I will still go ahead and take like 1 extra encounter way later in the game. But at least now we alleviated the short-term problems here. And now we grab one of the most overpowered abilities in this whole game, which is Intervention on Ciel. When I first routed this, like I was one of the first runners of this category, so we didn't know any better. We took Fortune's Fury on Ciel, which basically doubles the damage that a character can do on the next turn, which, you know, sounds great. The problem with that is it's so easy to actually hit the damage cap, like early. Like, you already saw me do that, right? Like, we hit the quadruple 9 already. That it's really not that necessary to increase your damage even further, you know, apart from the Pictos and the Lumina that we have access to pretty easily over the course of the run anyway. And then Zero Elite, another runner of this game. You might know him actually as a prominent Psychoden runner, and also Final Fantasy 13. I think a couple of other games as well. He also started running the game, and he was like a big advocate for intervention on Ciel. Because what intervention does, it basically forfeits Ciel's turn in order to give another character a second turn. And you know, in a turn-based game where it's kind of important to have as many turns over your enemy as possible, that is a very overpowered ability, as you will see very shortly. We're not gonna use it against the next enemy, but intervention will play a role in every single fight we do after this. It is just that good of an ability. Before we go on, though, we want to, of course, equip the new weapon that we got on Mael there. We want to equip Critical Moment that we got on Gustav. And get into the, well, hardest fight in the game, obviously, against the ever-lovely Frostmal. A very interesting strategy here. Frostmal has 5 shields. We still apply a marking shot to him because it won't deal damage to him, but it will still apply the mark. And then with Lune, we want to shoot him 3 times and then attack once. So it only applies defenses on him, but it does break all the shields, but it doesn't damage him, because if we were to damage him, the mark would fall off. So then we can use Per Se with Mael and end the fight in 1 attack. Like I said, the damage is kind of interesting. And again, keep in mind, this is expert difficulty. Now, this is the hardest these enemies can be at this point in the game. And we're just making minced meat out of them, like, completely. It is, like, still insane to me how optimized these fights are, not in a small order thanks to Zero Elite, who just really drilled down on all the strategies for these boss fights, and basically came up with most of the strategies in this particular category for the boss fights. So huge shout outs to him and the work he's done for the routing of this game. Like, I think as soon as he was done routing it and we already saw his, preliminary result, like, everybody was just waiting for him to finish his notes and share them with the community so that everybody else could just use them instead of their own notes, including me, to keep running this particular category. And I don't think there was, like, anybody else who, put in that much category. It's, like, insane. Speaking of categories, obviously, we have a couple different categories. I'm doing the Glitchless category, which again means basically we have to do everything in order. We have to do all the mandatory boss fights, etc., etc. But this game, let me tell you, is just absolutely broken. Like, once you get into the unrestricted territory, I think that speedrun, like the whole game, start to finish, is less than an hour at this point. It is insane how broken this game is. There are so many out of bounds. And as soon as we found the stats overflow and underflow glitch, like, things got just even more crazy at that point. Normally every character has 5 stats that they can have between 0 and 99 in. But with the over and underflow glitch, you can literally put like 40,000 plus or minus into a single stat. Which, if you put that into Might, for example, you just deal so much damage once you get out of the damage cap. It's insane. Like, you literally one-tap evac, for example. The first boss fight that we did. It's insane. And couple that with, like, the wrong warping and the out-of-bounds and everything, and you basically don't even understand anymore what is happening on screen, because everything is just happening so fast. We're going to upgrade Lighterm here. This will basically be Lune's main weapon for this run. Like, in the early stage, you lose Demonarim, which is a weapon that you can pick up for in Flying Waters if you do the side quest of the White Demoner. The problem with that particular weapon is it takes about a minute to get it, and you don't really need it as long as you have good RNG, specifically in the Goblu fight. Please dismount. Yeah, there we go. Because, it decreases the cost for your lightning skills on Lune by 1, and later on also increases their damage by 20%. And since we will mainly be using Lightning Dance with her, that is, of course, good things to have. But as it turns out, it's really not needed during the speedrun. So we do have to kill these guys in a specific order. Make this fight go fast. There we go. Nicely done. Like, we do this fight to get a better weapon for Gustav at this point, the Landstorm upgrade, but also just get a little bit more experience, and most importantly, to kill off Lune.
Nice.
As I said before, we want to make heavy use of the critical moment picto from here on out. And if you kill one of your characters, they will be at 1 HP going out of the fight for the next fights, you know, until you heal them. So we can basically guarantee that our characters will be below the threshold where critical moment will get activated. And since we only did that on Lune so far, that basically, you know, tips you already off to the fact that Lune will be very important as a damage dealer for at least the next fight. Because another thing that this game really likes to do, it sends you back to camp after every major plot point. So your characters can, you know, have a couple moments, have a chat, you know, catch up on what it is to do, which is, you know, nice for the story. However, for the speedrun, it kind of kills our momentum every now and again, because you also get a full heal if you go to the camp. Which, of course, you know, we want to be at low HP to be able to benefit from a lot of the Pictos and the Lumina, so it like really counteracts whatever we're going to set up for. Also, favorite enemy coming by here, everybody say, hi, Bum Bum, bye, Bum Bum, and there he goes. I don't know what the deal is with that guy. He just appears and immediately falls down the edge. I guess he just couldn't catch himself. He's a little bit camera shy, you know. Not everybody can handle being in a marathon run for like multiple hours. So he just wants to say hi real quick, and then he just immediately goes off.
I was so ready for him to just be an enemy later in this section, and he just never shows up.
Yep. I mean, you meet his cousins, friends, brothers, whatever, but he just never reappears. There's another important pickup that we're doing here. Gonna take a little side tour right over here. Oh, Gustav, please, grab it. Thank you. Which is the first strike picto. Now, the first strike picto is kind of busted in multiple ways.
This will be useful.
Because not only does it, you know, the picto itself give you a little bit more crit, which is always nice to have, and speed. But the first strike basically does is whoever has that equip will always, and I mean always, get the first turn in a fight. Like, it doesn't matter if you get ambushed or if it's a boss fight or whatever, that character will always go first. And once we have mastered the picto and we get the Lumina for everybody, you know, obviously we're going to put it on everybody. However, First Strike has another hidden property together with Dead Energy 2. Only Dead Energy 2, not Dead Energy 1. And also, oh god, what are the other two? I think it's Sweet Kill, whatever it's called. And Teamwork. All of these 4 pictos have a hidden 10% damage buff in them. That is nowhere recorded. You just know if you know, because, you know, obviously we tested all the pictos when it came to speedrunning. We just noticed that we deal more damage as soon as we have those equipped. We don't really know why, if it's a bug or not, but, you know, since it's just inherently and consistent, we don't consider it a bug or a glitch or anything, because, you know, we really need those pictos to be able to, well, go fast and make our strategies work. So yeah, we're just rolling with that. But yeah, just having Dead Energy 2 and First Strike equipped already gives you like a 20% damage buff across all your characters, which adds up, let me tell you. So it's just, you know, a really nice 2-in-1 picto that you definitely want to have on your characters and master as soon as possible. Never, you know, put it aside. Like, if you ever play this game casually, please make sure to always have Dead Energy 2 equipped on everybody. It's a very cheap ability. It might not look like it does much, but that 10% damage buff just is noticeable. It definitely is noticeable. But yeah, we're making our way over to the end of Stonewave Cliffs, so Sid, if you have anything else to plug, feel free. Because we're just going through the caves.
Sure thing, sure thing. I would like to thank one of our sponsors in this time. I'm going to be thanking Your Build, because YourBuild.nl is a Dutch company that specializes in custom PCs made to order. Perfect for gamers, creators, and professionals. Every system is tailored to your exact needs with high-quality parts, clean cable work, and thorough testing. They offer both gaming PCs and workstations focused on performance, silence, or aesthetics, depending on what matters most to you. You can check out their Twitch to catch live PC builds, or you can browse their custom work on Instagram, both under the handle @YourBuildPCs. Your Build currently only sells and ships systems within the Netherlands and Belgium. But whether you're planning a future build or just stopping by for inspiration, you are always welcome at YourBuild.nl. Also, I would like to get a €5 donation train going, telling me your favorite soundtrack in this game. Because this, your favorite track, because there is so many good ones. And yes, you are allowed to donate the French names, and I will do my best to pronounce them.
Oh boy. Now, if that is an incentive, I don't know what is, honestly. But there are so many good tracks in the soundtrack, it's phenomenal. Also, I just make sure that I get a little bit more might on Gustav there because I'm not trusting my abilities there at the moment. I probably shouldn't need to do that mini or that upgrade there, but yeah, there's a little more marathon safety, maybe. But yeah, we are switching out Mael for CL, right? That is correct. She gets Augment Strike, she gets Breaker, she gets Energizing Start 1. Critical Moment, and you get First Strike. She didn't have that equipped either. What? Huh. Interesting. Just making absolutely sure that everybody has equipped what they need here. That should be fine. All right, fingers crossed, because we are on to Lampmaster. Now, Lampmaster is another big roadblock, especially early on if you're starting to learn the speedrun. Because, you know, this flying meatball thingy, like all of his attacks are kind of erratic. Like, it's really hard to see what actually he is hitting you with because all the timings are a little bit off. Because you really have to, you know, pay attention to his arms and whatnot and what he's trying to do here. So, another thing with this attack specifically, initially if you were to able to, you know, parry all the lamp attacks, your characters would do like a counter attack, or since some of the recent patches they don't counter the lamp attacks anymore. We're not sure why, honestly. It's just not a thing anymore. So I don't know if it's a bug or whatnot. It just doesn't happen anymore. Which is not... Oh god, this is bad. Okay, made it. Cool. What was I saying? We don't have to parry here anymore because we do have enough AP on everybody, so I can just dodge this. It's fine. Oh, shit. No! Okay, I messed it up. I was supposed to use powerful there instead of the attack. I am sorry. I read my notes wrong. Even though the fight was going well. Oh, well, we're just gonna do it again. Because it's just such a nice fight against the flying spaghetti monster, right? Right. That's like another thing, like you have to be completely on top of your game. Like every action that we basically take for every fight from here on out is basically set in stone. We're just following a very rigid script. Or trying to, at least. Which means any deviation from our script will basically mess up the fights. And things can go wrong very quickly from there. So you know, I will just take the reset. Doesn't lose that much time. Like the estimate should more than be fine with that. But yeah, like a lot of people will, you know, bash their head in against Lampmaster the first time they face him. Not only casually, but also in the speedrun. I hate this attack. Okay, use powerful. Use powerful. Yeah, there we go. Alright, that's good. And now we use Lightning Dance, and now you can see the damage. Lightning Dance is a very interesting ability. Like normally it does only 6 hits, but for every crit that you do, it does another attack, up to a total of 12. And since everything is a crit, that adds a lot of damage. And I hate... Oh god, this attack. Probably. Okay, we're not getting the experience bonus, which should be fine, right? But at least the fight isn't over yet, because like Ciel and Gustav are the only ones who were able to tank a hit here. So at least he didn't use it on Lune, because as you can see, Lune is not doing too well, but we need her to be low HP to be able to you know, use critical moment. Okay, we got the perfect dodge here. That is perfect, because we now have enough AP to do what needs doing. So basically what we're trying to do is set up another lightning dance. And you can kind of see how overpowered intervention is now. It's just being able to give Lune another turn here, and this should kill. All right, nice. Good fight, good fight. Like, it's a bit sad that CL got hit there, so we didn't get the 20% experience bonus, but it's fine. We'll live. Just makes me, you know, like really have to remember that we actually go for getting a little bit more experience later on in the run in order to be able to offset that. Because again, like everything is pretty much set in stone. Like you really want to be on the XP route, obviously, because you know this is an RPG. So it's really important that you hit certain level thresholds at certain points in the game to be able to equip certain abilities and so on and so forth.
Get us up there.
But yeah, this is also the end of the first act of the game. I mean, you can kind of see where this is probably already going. We're trying to not too much spoil it here, but you have been warned. I mean, you're watching the speedrun of the game. What did you expect? You know, we skip every cutscene that we can, but we can't skip every scene. And yeah, I'm just not gonna comment on that. Nope, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Not gonna say it. I'm gonna say baguette instead. And yeah, we are now into Act 2 of the game, so good going. Now we actually get another new character here. This is Verso. Everybody say hi, Verso. And he is a completely new character, so we have to give him completely new status attributes. Does not take over from Gustav. No, they are completely different. So they have kind of matching abilities, I would say. So we want to grab quite a few abilities on Verso here. Defiant Strike and Berserk Slash are the two big ones. There. Okay. And then we go to sleep and continue on. So, Sid, if you have anything you want to plug, go ahead.
Sure thing, because we have 2 donations. I figured I'd put my money where my mouth is and get that €5 donations the train started. So €5 from me, saying my favorite track is Goblu from the Flying Water Areas, because it's beautiful and easy to pronounce. And we also have €5 from our very own Kefil, saying my favorite one out of the OST just has to be either Un Vieux ATM or Monoco's theme. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know why I decided to do this, but good luck, Aish. It's been a joy seeing this game.
Thank you.
Completely destroyed. And both of those went to that Verso incentive, by the way. That Verso ending, because true ending, honestly.
It's nice. Yeah, we have to equip a Verso here with a couple picks that we got. Oops, excuse me. Like the menuing in this game is certainly a thing. Like if you ever, you know, you're a speedrunner, curse one thing in this run or in this game in particular, it's probably the menuing. Like, I don't want to say it's not intuitive, but it can be a little bit hard to navigate. Okay, I actually managed to dodge it. Like, for some reason, that second hit from that attack just always gets me. I don't know what it is. It's so hard for me to dodge. But that's also, like, the fun thing about this game in particular is, you know, because the way that the dodges and the parries work, like, you can see different people just really struggle with different points of the run. Like, everybody will have their bane, so to speak, or their nemesis when it comes to running this game and certain attacks from certain bosses. So it's really, like, interesting to see, okay, what are people struggling with? And then thinking, oh, well, I didn't have problems with that, but the other thing that you are absolutely destroying, that is something that I completely struggled with. It's really fun to see, you know, where the community went with all of these things and how they found methods to overcome it. Like, you know, just when it comes to the timing or something, like some people, you know, audibly count some attacks down, or, you know, have like some kind of other rhythm going on, or just, you know, go with the flow, whatever it is. Listen to the audio cues, watch whatever it's happening on screen, and everything helps in their own way. It's just, you know, on the runner to figure out, okay, what makes me consistently able to parry or dodge that specific attack so I can get through the run here. Now, the Forgotten Battlefield is, or like this whole part of the story, like, is very particular in a way, like emotionally. This is a very charged area, like especially what happened in the end of Act 1 here, and then, you know, going into this area through the boss fight that we're gonna do in a little while, and just the bookend to this whole thing. It's like very well done, and I think it's done in a way that not a lot of other games tackle like similar things. Namely, you know, is death of a friend, of a character, a family member, or whatnot, and just the grief that comes with it. And I think that's like really a thing that you don't see in games that much anymore. Like especially, for example, and again, I don't want to shit too much on Final Fantasy, but you know, contrast this with what happens in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, for example, when oh god, what's his name, Dyne dies, you know, and you have this moment of grief, and you immediately go ahead and fight Palmer after. It was just this absolute goofball, and it just completely ruins the atmosphere in a way, and it just takes you out of the experience, I think. And luckily and thankfully, this game does not do that, and I'm very, very grateful. I forgot to record the Luminous. It's fine now. Yeah, should be fine. Okay, on to Dualiste. Like, Dualiste is a boss that basically comes straight out of Elden Ring. If you know, you know. And we'll see. Like, we always want Dualiste to attack Verso. Whenever he attacks anybody else but Verso, it's a time loss. So, let's see. Oh. All right, good start. I'm just really building into existence right now. We do... And wildfire? Okay, we got one... That should be fine. All right, that was the first phase. Verso? No, not good. Oh, never mind. We are losing time now. Like, it is tremendously important that Dualiste attacks Verso at the start of the second phase here. Like, if he doesn't do that, oh, shit. I was supposed to use intervention there. I accidentally used a tincture instead. Like, one is square triangle, the other is triangle square. I don't know why, sometimes I just confuse them. So we basically need one more attack after this, so you got to go one more attack cycle off him. Which is, you know, fine. Like, Dualiste is one of the most technical bosses in the speedrun, simply because of what he's able to do. And who he targets with it. So you can't actually kill him before he does that combo, but basically everything has to go right for it. I don't have a tincture. Oh no, I do. Like, that's the thing. You might be wondering, okay, why am I not using the, like, why am I not parrying every single enemy attack, right? Like, why am I not going for the counter attacks? Because obviously it adds more damage. And the short answer to that is basically, well, we don't need that damage. Like, if you go for the parries, like, you want to go for the carries mostly because it gives you more AP, right? But if you parry every single attack or every single hit of an attacked string, you get the counter attack, which is an animation that takes up time. And if you don't need the damage that comes out of that, like, okay, why would we go for it, right? Like, we don't need to be that perfect during the run to get all of those counter attacks, because you literally don't need the damage, because it doesn't really add that much, honestly. Like, you saw Verso just completely tear through Dualiste because of the Picto setup that we have, where he's literally hitting the damage cap every single attack at the start of the second act of the game, which, you know, is not that far in. Like, we've been here for what, like an hour, a little more maybe, and we are already at the damage cap. Because, like, the game is, or the combat system is just that broken. Which, you know, is fun in its own way, don't get me wrong, but you just don't need some of the damage. And especially you don't need that damage or even want that damage if it would mean that you would push an enemy into their next phase, you know, where they would jump up in the turn order again, or put up a bunch of shields or whatever it is that we're doing for the next phase. So a lot of the boss fights going forward from here on out like have distinct phases once they hit certain HP thresholds, and we want to push through those thresholds at specific points in the fight just to be able to either manipulate the turn order or have certain attacks ready to immediately counter them, or make the most out of the next phase that is happening in the fight. So it's actually not needed to be really so perfect in the game that you can parry every attack. I mean, it's great if you can, but it's actually time loss if you do. So you're basically, getting reprimanded if you're too good at the game, basically. Which is an interesting thing to think about. Another thing that we actually do here, this is important that we do have the 4 color of Lumina that were picked up over the course of the run right here, because we're actually going to go ahead and use them. If we don't have all 4 of them, we might be in a little bit of a pickle, so here's hoping actually to pick up all of them. We also upgrade Lighterrim to level 9, which is the maximum at the moment, because we don't have the upgrade materials to upgrade it even further. Okay, so Lune is 1 Lumina off, which is because she is 1 level lower. Because not only do you get more Lumina points by using Color of Lumina, you also get them by leveling up. And just the fact that, she is 1 off tells me that she is 1 level behind where she should be. Which shouldn't be too much of an issue, because you do take another mandatory encounter on the way to Monaco Station here.
With SGA?
So hopefully it should offset for now. But as you can already tell by how far we are into the game, we're really not taking a lot of the trash mob encounters throughout the game, because they're really not needed. We take a couple of them for specific reasons, like this one here. And technically this one isn't even for the experience. This is more so just because we want to set up Lune again with Critical Moment, and also at Death's Door that we just got. But thankfully, if you just fail a Wildfire, I mean, you've seen it before, it just backfires and deals a bunch of damage to Lune, which, because she doesn't really have a lot of HP at this point in the game, just means she basically one-shots herself, which is kind of funny, but it also just makes it very quickly for us to always set up her HP correctly so she can benefit from Critical Moment. And also now Death's Door that we actually got after Lampmaster at the end of Act 1. The Death's Door is another one of those pictures that only activates if you are low HP. If you are below 10% HP, you get a 50%, I think, no, it's 30%. There's a 50%? 30% of 50% damage increase, which is massive. So basically from here on out, we want all of our damage healers to always be below 1 HP, so we can make use of both Critical Moment and Death's Door. Now, both are pictos that you probably didn't use during your casual playthrough, because, you're probably playing this casually. You want to be able to tank some attacks and have a little bit of an error margin going everywhere. But in the speedrun, we know what's going to happen. Everything is scripted out, so we are going full on risk-reward here. I got to do a bit of a menu here where we put new pictors on our characters. Deliberately making this slow so I don't mess it up. Because, again, the menuing is very particular. Like, if you don't have the right pictors equipped, it just completely messes with everything going forward. And since we're in the marathon setting and I can't really, quickly redo this, I'm just going to make absolutely sure that we have the right stuff equipped so I can concentrate on the fight after. I'll tell you, one of Keithel's favorite themes right here. We heard it earlier. This is Monaco's theme. And it's a bang. The only problem with this theme in particular is it ends. Like, for some reason, it's not looped properly. So after a minute or so, you just have absolute silence in this fight. So let's see that we don't hit that point. But yeah, as you can see, like, Lightning Dance on Lune is just completely stupidly broken, especially if you pair it with Intervention coming off of Ciel, and you just, basically tearing through all the bosses from here on out. And you will see this ability a lot, let me tell you that. We have a recode, that means we can do stuff on Lune here. It's a level low. So yeah, okay, it works out, perfect. Okay, he is a level low. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I feel like at this point I'm doing a lot of damage control just by leveling because everybody's always a little bit low on something right now. Oh wait, got on Verso. We want to grab both powerful and also leadership. So there, okay. And then on CL, you get Dodger first strike. Cool. All right. And yeah, now we're getting a new ability on every character. It's basically the limit breaks or the gradient attacks, as they are called here. And Monaco is going to explain them to us.
I don't need pointers from the one sitting on his lazy ass.
You didn't teach them, did you, you lazy old fart? Very well. I shall generously...
Hurts.
I don't know why the dialogue gets cut off there. Like, lately it does that for some reason. But I think it's like always a bit of a funny transition. Now, thankfully for this fight, you already get like one segment of the gradient buff filled, so you can actually just go ahead and use the gradient attack. We don't want to use that like right at the start. We do want to start with the Ice Lance. And then go into an innovation and then into the gradient attack, because it's actually quite useful for this particular fight, as it gives us the stains on Looney to just immediately go back into another lightning dance and kill that guy. Because he's not a true boss, but I also want to go ahead and watch this particular cutscene, because it is so good. Like, again, the game, the story, everything is fantastic, but the relationship specifically between Monaco and Verso is just something that you have to behold. Like, Monaco in itself is just such a vibe. You know, it's gonna let this play out here.
just need the foot. Aha!
Like, the thing with Monaco is, you know, he takes the enemy's feet.
He transforms by collecting.
As
Ask me how it works.
Verso explains right here. And yeah, he's basically the blue mage of the group. But also the whole interaction between Verso and Monaco that's about to happen is just...
Spirits. To what do we owe the pleasure of your company?
Just to listen to this one.
We're heading for old Lumiere.
Okay, bye.
Hey, come on. Hey. Hey, look. I know we failed before, but look, you doofus. Don't you recognize her?
Of course I do.
Then you know what that means. This is our shot. It might be our only shot.
This is your only shot. Out of the question. I will never join you again.
There will be a lot of fighting, though.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's true.
There will be a lot of fighting.
Exactly.
Count me in there.
Good.
Good.
It just exemplifies like Monaco's character like so succinctly, because you know the Jessos are all about fighting. You know, they just want to fight every single time. So just, you know, being able to goad Monaco into joining you like that, it's just it's just such a great moment. Sorry for the spoilers there, but it's one of my favorite cutscenes probably in the game. Like, there are a lot of good comedic cutscenes specifically, especially with Monaco in them. But that one is just, you know, like encapsulates everything like so succinctly. It's just really one of those ones that I just really want to watch whenever I come here to this one.
Now that we've unlocked Monaco, we will be using him for the rest as our character of choice on the overworld. You can thank Hapkain and Nama for that. It was that donation at the very start of the run.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, that's like the thing, right? It's still an RPG where you have to, you know, assemble your group piece by piece. So, of course, we weren't able to do that from the start. But yes, I guess we'll see Monaco for quite a while until somebody else comes in and snipes that off of me. But we have to do a little bit more menuing here. Where are we? We are gonna put this on you with auto swap. Then minus dodger, put first strike on her. First strike with affinity, right? Second with affinity, you get first strike, and you get right there. Just cool.
Is anyone still here?
Just now.
Yeah, we are now in Old Lumiere, and this is actually the only part in the game where, I mean, every RPG has to have that at some point, right? Where your party splits up for whatever reason, and you have to take control of like 2 different parties at this point. Luckily, it doesn't matter like too much because, again, we will just skip all of the encounters anyway. Like, one of the parties will actually not be in any fight whatsoever, which will be Monaco's party here. which is going to run past everything.
Friends.
But it's also like the one thing, you know, I explained earlier that we take specific encounters and do specific maneuvers to set up our characters at 1 HP, right? To make use of at death's door and critical moment.
Shall we?
Well, the nice thing is, Monaco Station is the only area during the critical path where at the end, your characters go not back to camp. Like, there is no forced camp sequence between Monaco Station and Old Lumiere, so Lune is still set up at 1 HP to deal, like, you know, massive amounts of damage. However, because the game, you know, divorces the characters here into 2 different groups, and they only converge at the boss of this area, the developers thought, you know, it would be a nice thing if everybody gets healed going into that boss fight. So even though Lune is set up at the moment at 1 HP, once we actually go into the boss fight, she will be healed to full and, you know, nullify our efforts once again. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. So we actually had to come up with a different strategy of how we can, you know, get her set up back to 1 HP at the start of the next boss fight. And I think that is a strategy that Zero Lead is particularly proud of because, again, he came up with it. A couple of other runners did something similar at first, and then, you know, Zero just came back to it and just really cranked it down and you know, optimize it in a way that it like always works. Because again, we want to use wildfire obviously because, you know, of the backfire mechanic of it, so that we can damage Lune with a very specific setup to make her, well, go below 10% HP but not die, which is not quite that easy if you are already dealing that much damage as you saw me do throughout the rest of the run here. Like, our damage is literally in the thousands. No, wait, attack first. So, yeah, while we're just going through the rest of this scenario, Sid, do you want to read us something?
Of course I do. We have 33 euros from Anna Artemis saying, so cool to see Clair Obscur at a marathon. Which mime did you have to beat for the Aeshmah baguette costume?
That is a good question. Just want to preface this. At the moment, we only have Mayel in our party, so we can't have Monaco on screen. We will go back to Monaco once the party rejoins. I'd rather not tell so the police doesn't know which one I had to beat up.
Good answer, good answer. And then, of course, went to the first event.
It was a setup, literally. But yeah, like, if you didn't know, like, there are these mine enemies in the game. You know, they look like pantomimes. And whenever you defeat one of them in the game, you gain one of the, well, baguette outfits for your characters. Oh my god. So good. So the characters actually have these kind of outfits that you see us and or me and the audience wearing right here for the characters themselves. Now, sadly, this is a new game run, not a new game plus run, so I don't have the outfits, and I would have to go out of my way to acquire them for the party, which, well, you know, would take a while. So sadly, we won't be dressing up our characters. I know. I'm sad as well, but nothing I can do about it. But yeah, this is the fight where, you know, everybody rejoins the fight, and you always start the fight with this particular party. Like, even though we would like to have CL over Mayel at this point, there's just nothing we can do about it. So we had to find strategies that involve this particular character combination. Now, what you could do is you could lose to the boss right here and then reload, or, you know, continue the game. It will put you back at the last save point. And then you can configure your party freely, but that would mean that you would have to game over at this point, which obviously, you know, is slow, so we don't want to have to do that. We just like to do it in the fight itself.
She won't help you this time.
Whoops. Well then. I want to say that never happened before, but it also never happened before. Like, this is like one of those attacks that is like actually pretty easy to parry, and I'm not quite sure what I did there. Hello, can you please aim? Thank you. But yeah, like the attack that Renoir did there is like basically a one-shot. It's one of those gradient attacks, and they are like really easy to parry actually. Like, there's a really big margin of error there. I'm not quite sure how I was not able to hit that, but I guess here we are. I guess we just wanted to listen to more of the awesome music for that fight in particular, right? Absolutely. Okay, let's try this one again. I mean, the music is great. Say what you want, and I knew you wanted to hear more of it. That's the only reason I did that, right? Right? Now the developers actually introduced like a retry the fight mechanic, where you can just do the fight again if you get a game over. But since I still had like 2 characters alive, that wouldn't really have helped me in that particular instance. So I just reloaded the last save, which sadly was a little bit far away, but oh well. Now, this attack is one of the best ones you can do because it is fast, and you know, the whole party counter attack. So it also deals quite a bit of damage there, actually.
She won't help you this time.
Now, this is actually one of the worst attacks he can do because it just takes forever for him to finish that one. Attack and leadership. That will be the end of it. Basically, the setup for this fight was, at the start, we used another wildfire fail with Lune, and there's 2 outcomes to that wildfire, right? Like either, thank you, either you crit or you don't. If you don't crit, it will not put Mayel into critical health. So we then have to use another health tincture because we are inverted on her to be able to get through that. Where am I going? We're going there. So if Lune actually quits with a wildfire and hits herself, she's not only able to survive that hit, but it also puts her in the immediate HP range where she would need to be for both critical moment and a death's door to activate. But if she doesn't quit, you know, we had to find another way to get her down to that specific health threshold. Now, since the health tincture always heals you for 30% health, it was just, you know, a bit of a math problem to figure out, okay, what does Lune's health basically need to be according to her attack stat that we could do. Why was she just walking there? To make that work, basically, and not kill her. Because obviously we can't just trust for Renoir to go ahead and hit you for a certain amount of damage so you are in critical health. That is just, you know, too much RNG that we would be introducing into that particular fight right there. So, yeah, that is basically what we came up with. And it works out just perfectly because you don't really need Mayel's turn at that point in the fight anyway. You could use offensive switch to put defenseless onto Renoir, but you don't really need that because you're already doing that with Verso anyway, as he has dual Liso equipped and can just do that with his basic attack. But, you know, she still gets her turn, but it is free for us to just go ahead and use that health tincture. Now, that also means that it is actually very important that we do not upgrade the health tincture up until that point in the run, because then it would heal her too much, but because, you know, she has inverted applied, it actually damages her. So it would damage her too much and actually kill her. So even though you get a freebie of the health potion upgrade after, I think it's Go Blue, do not use that until at least after this point in the run. Now, at this point, we have to go ahead and defeat 2 bosses in 2 different areas to basically get the MacGuffin to be able to go to the obelisk and, you know, fight the paintress and stop her from painting death ever again. And while we just go through the joy section of Visage Island here, I'm gonna pick up another picto. Sid, do you want to read us something?
Sure thing. We have €5 from Kevin saying, born too late to see Clair Obscur Expedition 1 through 32. Too early for Expedition 60, but just in time to see Expedition 33 at BSG.
See, that's actually not quite true, because Expeditions 32 to 1 would happen after Expedition 33, because they're counting down. Huh.
With the exception of Expedition 0, that one's different.
That one is different. That one is actually different, right. But you could still see the others. Let me actually do this the correct way. Yeah, we're going to CL. She is going to equip Auto Rush and get. Now, Confident Fighter, even though it's quite a bit out of the way, it's just such a good pick, though, that we take the time to go ahead and pick it up. Oh, yeah, Energizing Star. Right. And he gets a Death's Door, and he gets one. Oh god. Hello. I'm scared. No, sorry, I'm just going very slowly through these menus just to make absolutely sure, because like a single mistake in the menu basically means that next boss fight is not going to work out the way it should, and then you lose even more time because of it. This is a pretty funny fight. Once again, we want to set up our HP values. We'll do that by healing Verso, by attacking with Lune, and then CL had enough of these idiots and just immediately runs away. Like, it just really works out because of the speed values of the characters here that we have, you know, first strike and it goes from left to right. Inverted Affinity is a picto that we have equipped that gives us 50% more damage for the first 3 turns while Inverted is applied. Inverted basically being a status effect that makes it so if you were to get healed, it damages you instead. And that is basically the only reason why we learned Perfect Recovery on Verso, that he can use it in this particular fight to kill himself very quickly. And then you already know what we did with Lune with the Wildfire. And because we picked up Auto Rush earlier in Old Lumiere, like CL is just so fast that she double turns together with First Strike. And the way that fleeing in this game works is if you have your whole party out, like all 3 characters, you start fleeing with the first character, and then you will flee the fight once the other 2 characters got 1 turn. However, it's a bit different if you only have 1 active character left on the battlefield. Because the first time their turn comes around, it will initiate the flee, but it will only like consume it once their turn comes around a second time. Now, since CL basically got the double turn, she just is able to basically flee immediately because the flee gets triggered and then immediately consumed on her second turn. It's like a really neat setup for that particular fight, so you're able to get out of it very quickly. All right, we got our next boss fight coming up, where we need to put Dualiso back on him, and then we are switching these 2 around. Now, it's actually quite funny that we don't put combo attack on Verso. You would think it would be like, you know, a no-brainer to give combo attack and Dualiso to Verso after the Dualista fight, but it's really not needed at this point. And it actually, you know, adds another animation to Verso's base attack, which we also don't need at this point. Now, this will be a probably, hopefully, very quick fight, actually, if things go right, because we also now have Elemental Trick on Lune. Now, Elemental Trick basically gives Lune 4 different stains for every crit she gets, or like every crit gives her 1 stain, she does 4 attacks. So she gets 4 stains, which all, you know, gets consumed, or 3 of them get consumed by Lightning Dance here, so she can't just deal a buttload of damage like immediately in the first turn together with intervention from CL. And that is basically like the combo that we will be using for quite a bit here. Now, Visage will always attack with the Determination Mask on his first turn. So this is that attack that he will always do, so you know exactly what is happening on his turn right. No. Leadership. And then we will use this, and Wildfire will actually push the phaser because this is a 2-phase encounter. And the nice thing about this is we immediately start with CL, who can again use intervention on Lune, so we can use another Lightning Dance like immediately at the start of the second phase here. Now, since we actually didn't go to the side areas on Visage Island and, you know, killed off the other masks, Maskkeeper here is able to summon the masks of emotion, anger, sadness, and joy. He should only be able to do something with the Anger Mask, which gives him double turns, so just have to dodge this. I did not dodge that. Well then, okay, I see how it is. At this point in the game, you need all your 3 characters to go through the fights, like, perfectly. You need all of them. There's, like, no 2 ways around this. So every time you get hit from this point onward, it's basically a reset for the fight. I guess I was just a little bit too slow there because I was yapping a bit too much. Happens. But yeah, we just have to now go through the first part of the fight again because there are no mid-fight checkpoints like at all in this game, which is like really hard for, you know, especially the later bosses in the game because they keep having more and more phases, obviously. Gonna up the ante a little bit. So we're just gonna go ahead and see this again. But yeah, the Anger Mask basically in the second phase gives him a second turn for whenever one of his turns comes around. The Joy Mask heals him whenever it triggers, and then the Sadness Mask applies Exhaust on your whole party. Now, Exhaust is a very devilish status effect to have on your party because it basically denies AP regeneration on your characters, which is not great to have, like, at all. It's like one of the status effects that you immediately want to get rid of whenever one of your characters has that.
Not looking good.
Alright. And we're back in the second phase. Now, as you can probably already tell, like, the bad thing about this is that you always basically have to go through all the turns again until you get back to, you know, where you left off or died in the fight previously. Which just adds, like, a lot of time if you have to repeatedly, you know, reset a fight like this. So, fingers crossed we get through this now. It's actually not that hard. It's just a little bit off on my timing there. I'm gonna concentrate on it a little bit more. Honestly, I was fearing I dodged too early there all of a sudden. All right, and we are good to go. It's like one of those things, you know, there are a lot of cues for the attacks, like either visual or audio cues.
Looking good.
So you kind of really just have to concentrate on a lot of the fights, so you don't miss the cue and then, you know, miss the parry or the dodge or whatever it is you need to do.
Push forward.
All right, and that should kill. There we go. See, easy, easy. And with that, we are back in camp. Of course, everybody gets a full heal. Hey! Let's see where we actually stand with our attributes, because I think we are still a little... Oh, we got the Monaco leader bug. Good. I think you are missing agility. No, CL. Okay, cool. That works out. Yeah, so there is a bug in this game. We have absolutely no clue what actually triggers it. That as soon as Monaco joins the party, or rather after Act 1, the game defaults in your menu, when you open the menu, to Lune as, you know, the party leader, so to speak, or the group leader. However, when Monaco joins, there can be like a bug that triggers that makes him the party leader for some reason. So the menu will now always start on him instead of Lune, which is just something that again, we don't know why this happens. It just can happen or it can't happen. So you basically have to learn every menu 2 different ways if you want to do it fast, depending on if you got the Monaco leader bug or not, which is frankly quite a bit of annoyance. But again, there's nothing that we have found what triggers it. It's completely RNG, and sadly, it hasn't been fixed yet. We are still, you know, crossing our fingers every time a new patch releases for this game that hopefully fixes the bug, but it just hasn't happened yet. I mean, it's a very niche thing to happen because there's like only really one instance where it can happen, which is when Monaco joins your party. It's just really a bit of annoyance rather for the speedrun. Because, you know, obviously, if you're practicing the menus, you know, you want to get that into your muscle memory. So you can do it fast, but, you know, if you get the Monaco bug, then all of a sudden you have to relearn all of your menus. And you're just sitting there like, okay, how do I do this now?
I'd like to remind you that Monaco is in the lead for the character choice.
Thank you. I completely forgot about that. Sorry, he was not in the lead for Visage Island. But he will be now. Like, Monaco is like such an interesting character as well. That was the wrong button. I didn't want to do that. I just pressed it by accident. Because, you know, not only is he a gestural, and he's also portrayed as a dog in another instance in the game, without going into spoilers too much. But he apparently is also like just a real life dog from the development team. He's like, I think, the happiness manager at Sandfall Interactive, if I remember correctly. So, you know, they're giving him like a role like this in the game. It's just quite funny. Excuse me. But yeah, this is Siren Island. Or Siren's Dress, I think. actually called. You can actually see the boss down there in the arena already. We just have to go and find a way down. And there's actually like a very interesting skip you can do on the little UFO elevator that we wrote down just a little while back, where you can jump on the head of that guy. And then you can trigger it from up there. And from there on out, you can just jump over the railing, so to speak, down into the abyss, close to where Siren already is, and you skip basically the whole of this area, like completely. And it's quite interesting to see because obviously, you know, it saves a lot of time. Because you don't have to go through any of this. But again, since this is the Glitchless category and we have to do all mandatory fights and everything, we have to go, or of course, out of bounds and everything are not allowed anyway. So we have to go through this the normal. Now, first of all, we want to set up our HP here. Now, I'm actually going back into this fight. Normally, I wouldn't do this, but it's because we are a little bit low in our experience because of things that went wrong back in the first act. I want to try and offset this by taking this, hopefully, very fast encounter. Just to get back on the XP routing a little bit. Because these are really the only fights that we can take during a speedrun that don't lose us a lot of time, because it's only about going for headshots and just quickly getting rid of these enemies, because you can't really physically attack them because these are flying enemies, and flying enemies in this game have like a property that gives them really high evasion status against all attacks except the one where you shoot at them. This is offset, of course, by them having a very small HP pool, and because of all the abilities that we have equipped, we deal enough damage that we can actually get rid of them quite quickly. So if you're ever behind on your experience routing at any point in the game, like, this is really your only opportunity to be able to offset this. Now, hopefully this one fight should have been enough for everything that is to come, but I guess we'll see later. But yeah, there's like a lot of these elevator thingies, UFOs, I think we call them, to go through here. So really not a lot happening at the moment. So Sid, if you have anything else that you want to plug, now is the right opportunity.
Absolutely. I'd like to remind everybody why we are here, who we are raising money for, because we are raising money for Mind, which is a nationwide organization committed to preventing mental health issues. Mind strives to provide support to individuals and families facing mental health challenges. All of your donations will go to Mind. Worldwide, suicide ranks as the third leading cause of death in youth between 15 and 19 years of age, and is the second leading cause of death for girls of this age group. Early recognition of mental health disorders is essential to reduce suicide rates, improve treatability, and reduce severity of several illnesses, including depression, psychosis, eating, and substance abuse disorders. Mind tries to help bring awareness by providing classes at school to inform youth on the topic, and through social media campaigns targeting youth to encourage them to be more open about mental health issues. Thank you, Mind.
It's a really great cause. So yeah, please everybody, keep your donations coming. You know, we still have 2 incentives going for this particular run. Also for a lot of other runs later. But for now, we're still playing Clair Obscur, where you can make me change to another character if you don't want to see Monaco all this time. But let's be real, he is a very good boy, so I don't mind it too much. But also, if you want to see the alternative ending, the true ending, or whatever ending you prefer to call it, you know, there's an incentive for you to donate towards there. And we still got a little bit of time to get that met, so not in a rush just yet, but, you know, don't want to wait too long. Because the game is quite fast-paced.
Absolutely. You are blazing through it.
I mean, there's actually not that much left, like, at least when it comes to the number of areas that we are still going through. I think this is actually the third to last, if my count is correct. But we are pretty fast, actually, coming up onto a mini-boss that you can fight at this point, which is the Chasseur. Spoiler alert, we're not going to fight him because it's really not needed. Now, the gimmick with the Chasseur is if you don't kill him here, there he is. He will actually support Siren, which is, you know, the actual boss of this area, during the fight. However, the funny thing is that fight goes by so fast in the speedrun that support ability never happens, because it would happen on Siren's second turn, and spoiler alert, she will only get 1 turn during the whole fight. And again, I just have to remind you, this is expert difficulty. You know, this is as hard as the game can be, if you don't put on any of the other, you know, damage thresholds or HP modifiers, obviously. Which I don't think you can at this point, but, you know, just saying. But yeah, before we face Siren, though, there is actually another mini-boss that we have to fight, which is Glissando, everybody's favorite cloth worm. I don't know. Gonna change my loadout here once more. Oop, where is it? Oh my god. We're gonna put Death Store on Immaculate Confident Fighter. There it is. And then, of course, we're gonna change this from Thought to Critical Moment and Death's Door. Now, CL is actually starting to be a very competent damage dealer for us going forward. So this is why we are starting to, put more and more damage-oriented pictos on her as well. Like Glissando is a very interesting fight. He actually has more HP than Siren, the actual boss of this area. So damage can be quite tight for this particular fight. So let's see which attack he actually does. Please don't do the tail slam. That's really all that I'm asking for. So let's see. What are they gonna hit me with? Come on, come on, come on. Enchant is okay. It's not great. The problem with Enchant is it's a single target ability. So, you don't get the full counter of your whole group. And that means that we are a little bit short on damage. That is why I took a couple more pot shots with Verso at this point. Try and offset that. This is the first instance of CL's gradient attack. There's a bunch of damage. And then we... just actually. I think we should be fine damage-wise. Like I said, if he uses Enchant, that's like the only ability... Yeah, okay, we're fine, fine. Okay, cool. If you use Enchant, that's like the only attack where you can be a little bit short on the damage, so you have to be mindful of that. Like every other attack that Glissando can do is like a group-wide attack, so you always know, you're good to go. But yeah, Sid, if you want to go ahead and pluck something else while we make our way over to the boss.
Yes,
now's
indeed,
your chance.
because we just got a nice big raid from our friend Froob. So I'd like to welcome all the raiders to Clair Obscur, which is an amazing game, and we have an amazing incentive going because we are raising some money for the Mine charity right here. And if you want, you can help us beat that Verso ending donation incentive. We are currently 152 euros away from that.
Yeah, Froob is good company. If you ever want to see any of the Yakuza games being speedrun, give Froob a follow. Like, he runs basically all of them and, very professional. Like, he's very good at them. And also super entertaining, man. You're really always looking forward to any of his runs when they happen.
Absolutely. Froob himself had to dip. Doesn't want any spoilers. Understandable.
Understandable. Absolutely understandable. Like I said, you're doing actually yourself a bit of a disservice if you watch the speedrun before you've played the game yourself, because this is really one of those games that only comes around like once a decade or so, and it nearly needs to be personally experienced and not just, lived vicariously through somebody else's stream, honestly. It is that good. But yeah, we have Siren coming up right here, and I spoiled it a little bit already, but she is only gonna get one attack in that I obviously need to parry, but this is a super fast fight, which you really didn't think it would be, because, this is like one of the last bosses in the game, just for the main story arc, obviously not counting any optional objectives and whatnot you can do here. But yeah, we're gonna set up our characters again, dealing a little bit of damage, and we actually want to put her health at a specific point on her health bar. Basically, we don't want to push her below roughly 80% of her health. You can kind of, if you look at her health bar, you see this little shield icon, the defenseless icon underneath her health bar, and to the left of that, there is this little vertical white line. We do not want to push her to the left of that before she gets a turn. Basically what we're trying to do. So it's very, specific which attacks we're going for here. We do want to push her through that, though, during this parry. So this parry should now push her to the left of it. And we do this specifically because it triggers this, scene with her where her dance becomes frantic. Because otherwise, she would get another turn after she dances with the Glissandos, and we basically skip that because we push through her health threshold at this particular point. And at this point, she doesn't know it yet, but she's basically dead. Because Lune and CL would just completely shred through her health bar. I mean, just watch this happen. Lune already, you know, did quite a work, and then CL goes in with her gradient. And then into Sealed Fate. And that's the boss fight. All right, while we are setting up for, well, we're actually getting close to the finale. You know, we now have the MacGuffin that allows us to push through to the monolith where the paintress is. So we're getting close to the end, right? So, Sid, if there's anything you want to let our viewers know, now's the time.
Yes, we have a 25 euro donation from Felicitas83. No comments, but put towards the first ending incentive.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, keep them coming, everybody. We still have a little ways to go here. Wow. But yeah, this is basically the point in the game, in the story, where you're really, you know, gearing up for the finale. Because there's really nothing else between us anymore. I mean, there's still the barrier that we are swimming towards now. But, you know, as I said before, we have the MacGuffin to push through that barrier and allow us entrance towards the paintress. So, I think we're going in, like, a lot underestimate, aren't we now? You're not. But we'll see about that. But yeah, we used the MacGuffin now. The barrier is gone, and we are now on our way to the paintress. There she is. With her big, stompy feet.
My lovely feet.
And I mean, who could better handle this fight than, you know, the man, the myth, the legend himself? Also, I have no idea why Eski is actually not running when I come back on land right now. What is this?
I want to reiterate that is a Monoko line. Just feel like it's an appropriate thing to clarify. Well,
we're going to make it even more appropriate because this is going to be a Monoko-only fight. It is actually Monaco's time to shine in the speedrun.
And on the overworld.
And on the overworld, exactly. Thank you. It's like, yeah, everybody. Every time you go back to the camp, it defaults back to Verso. Because whenever you're in the camp, he's technically the only character that is in your party. And, you know, you can't be somebody else that's not in your party. The game just doesn't allow that. So thank you for the reminder. But yeah, he will personally and only him take on the paintress and her feet, I guess. So we will see how this particular fight goes. It's obviously going to be a momentous occasion. You know, we've been working years, you know, with all the expeditions from 0 and then 100 downwards towards 33 to make this happen. And Monaco is bringing it home. We're going to risk it for the baguette. All right, Monaco, here you go. It's your time to shine. Okay, he's not doing anything. But neither is the paintress. The sweet taste of battle. It's not the lovely feed line. Oh, well. It is what it is. But, yeah, not a lot happening here. Like, what's going on? What's happening? Ah, cutscene, of course. Yeah, this is one of those, you know, unwinnable RPG battles. Like, it doesn't really matter what you do here. You just have to let the paintress get 3 turns, and then the fight is over. And it transitions to a cutscene. So the fastest way for us to trigger that cutscene is to just, you know, get out Monaco, because he's the only character that we haven't equipped any pictos on, so he has the lowest speed out of all of them, and then just pass turns, because he only gets 2 for her 3, and then, you know, fight is over.
What do you mean?
We're gonna switch party again, set this up, and I'm actually gonna do this now. It's very important that we equip Tisserand here. If you don't equip Tisserand here, you are in for a world of pain, let me tell you. It's happened quite a bit to every single runner that I think I've ever known running this game. Hold on, what? No, it was combo attack. What am I doing? Boom, there we go. All right.
No, but I
What was I saying? Oh yeah, Tisron. Like for some reason, it is so easy to forget that you actually can equip weapons in this game because you're mainly just dealing with the Picto and the Lumina menus. That the weapons just get completely overshadowed because there aren't really that many interesting weapons in the game in the speedrun sense. You know, you're basically going through, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 of them. So it's really rare that you actually have to change your character's weapons for specific scenarios. And then if you have to do it, it's like really easy to just forget about them for some reason. At least for me it is. I don't know if other runners feel the same, but I think at least some of them. But yeah, we are making our way through the obelisk right here. And this is really just, you know, a nice trip down memory lane because we're basically going through like a small section out of all the main sections that we went through earlier in the run. So it's just, you know, like a little bit of a callback to all the areas. Like this was Spring Meadows that we just went through. Then we go through little Flying Water section, Ancient Sanctuary, and so on and so forth. Sadly, it's not that interesting, I want to say, like in a speedrun scenario. Because we're not fighting anything here, we're not picking anything up. I mean, we're picking up one Picto that is along the way, but we're basically not doing any exploring here. It's just really like a really long walk up the monolith to the, let's say, final boss fight for now. So yeah, just, you know, enjoy the scenery. Because it is like a great scene, like especially like Flying Waters is maybe aesthetically one of my favorite areas like in the whole game. Like if you come there for the first time, I think that is like the area that sticks with you the most. And especially if you watch the first couple of trailers for the game in particular, it's like one of the things that like, oh yeah, this looks fantastic.
Can confirm. Flying Waters is honestly what sold me on the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even see the trailers. I just saw somebody play, and then they got the Flying Waters, and I was like, I need to play this.
This is like really the area, you know, where they really, you know, I would not necessarily say absolutely focus their marketing around, but that is like the one area that you want to show off to everybody, you know, because it just looks so cool. Not saying that the other areas are looking bad or anything, but like that area in particular just kind of captures the imagination in a way. It's like hard to explain, but just looking at it, you know, you should get the sense of what I'm trying to convey here. But yeah, you know, Tainted Sanctuary here. I mean, they're all called Tainted now. You know, it was like Spring Meadows and Flying Waters, Ancient Sanctuary. Now they're called Tainted Meadows, Tainted Waters, and so on and so forth. Just to have this little differentiation between the areas previously and the areas that we're in now. But yeah, making our way through here. Our party is mostly set up for the next fights that are to come. There's also not a lot of remaining that we have to do. There are still a couple of abilities that we need to learn that will be very important for at least the next boss fight. Because the next 2 boss fights, oh my god, they are a doozy. Like if you come here casually, it's not rare for some people to get a little bit stuck on them because they are very hard. Like the next boss fight, oh my god, oh, hello. In particular, is also not that easy, specifically in the speedrun, for the simple reason, excuse me, that we have to do a very particular HP manipulation. The way the next boss fight basically works is, as soon as he hits below 50% health, he jumps up in the turn order, like to the highest spot. Like he immediately basically gets a turn once your turn is over, and transitions to his second phase where he will get a full heal. Now, the thing is, on expert difficulty, he has a total HP of 370,000 and a bit. So that means if we wanted to, you know, not have him transition into a second phase, we would have to find a way to deal about 185,000 damage in a single turn. Now, keep in mind, at this point, we are still under the damage limit of 9,999, which means we need about an attack that deals 17 or 18 hits to be able to deplete that much HP, you know, all hitting for max damage. If we want to, well, not necessarily one-shot them, but, you know, one-shot him from roughly 50% HP to 0. So we really went back to theory crafting this because there is no ability in the game that hits about 20 times or that much. The highest that you saw was, you know, Lune with her 12 hits from Lightning Dance. And then, of course, there's CL with Sealed Fate and her gradient attack, Shadowbringer. So we really, you know, went to work. Okay, how can we make this work? Like, can we make this work like in the first place? And the short answer is yes. We actually found a way to make this work, and we're not counting this as a glitch specifically, even though we are technically skipping a phase of the boss because, you know, it's the same health bar. It's not like the fight with Visage and Maskkeeper, where it's like two distinct battles. And spoiler alert, actually, in the other categories, you can kind of skip / one-shot Maskkeeper before he appears on screen, which is kind of funny if you see it. So we're not counting this as a glitch or bug or whatever, you know, it's just one-shot for the next boss coming up. So this is a very interesting strategy that we have coming up for that. But first, before we're able to do this, we have to once again set up our HP by running into these enemies. Skip the turn. Quickly use Icelands on the one in particular in the middle. Then this guy will just kill us. But the reason we use Icelands here is normally the enemy in the middle goes first. And while that enemy only has attacks that hit your whole group, so, you know, they would kill like your whole group at once, it can either be a 3-hit or 4-hit attack, and especially the 4-hit attack just takes a while to get through. So what we found out is that if we use Icelands on him, it makes him just that much slower that one of the other ad enemies, or, you know, smaller enemies, actually get a turn, and they also have like attacks that can hit the whole group at once, or at least do 3 hits really fast, so it kills off your whole party as well. So that is just a little bit faster than having the guy in the middle have a go at your party. Yeah. That is basically why we use Icelands here. It's just a marginal time save. It's not really that big, but, you know, it's nice to do. You want to obviously go ahead and squeeze out every little bit of time that we can out of this run. And with that, we are basic. Oh no, we still have to do a little bit of a menu once we get to the next flag here before the next boss fight. Raise our attributes ability and pick up 2 very important abilities, one on Lune and one on Ciel for the next boss fights to come. One of them will actually be Stormcaller, which, well, we're just gonna let that ability speak for itself. Then, of course, All Set, which gives you every buff, like Power Up, Shell, and Rush, for 3 turns on your whole party, which is just insanely good. But first of all, small menu here. We are giving more luck to Ciel, a little bit of agility to Lune. I'm a little bit over-leveled now, so having the reverse problem too earlier because that one more fight that we took, you know, over-leveled us now a bit. I'm not putting more points into my statuses though because I don't want to screw with my turn orders. Thank you. Okay, we should be good now. And yeah, this fight is gonna be very interesting if you haven't seen it before. Like, again, we don't want to push him below 50% HP because that would immediately trigger his second phase. So we want to be very careful about how we apply damage here. So we want to attack with Verso, give him a shot, and then use Leadership to give the other characters a couple AP. And then we're going to use Stormcaller with Lune. Now what Stormcaller does, it doesn't deal immediate damage, but it adds an extra damage hit on every hit that you do. So every time you deal damage to him, he will take now extra damage from a lightning bolt. And we don't need to counterattack any of his attacks. I'm just gonna go ahead and dodge them. Applying a little bit more damage. Obviously, you want to apply Powerful to get even more damage on. And you can kind of see these 1300 damage instances. That is always us, or, you know, the Stormcaller triggering. Slow him down. Okay, good. Okay, now when it's Verso's turn, we want to be very particular about how we apply damage here. I'm actually very much paying attention here. I think we can push a little bit. We want to get him as close to 50% health as we can. I think that should be fine if we use Berserk Slash from here. Like, you just really have to feel it out. Like, I could have probably shot him once more, but it's fine. Like, with CL now, we specifically want to go for headshots if we can, because they deal a little bit more damage, and we really, you know, want to make this work. So I'm going to take a little bit of extra time to line these up perfectly. And here we go. He's now below 50% health. We're going to start with Shadowbringer. And then into Sealed Fate. And that's the fight. Like, the only reason this works is, like I said before, as soon as he goes below 50% health, you probably saw it in the turn order, Renoir will already shut up to the top of the turn order. So the next turn will be his, unless you use a gradient attack. Because if you use a gradient attack, your character actually gets another turn. And that overrides, technically speaking, the turn order. So that is why CL still got another turn after using a gradient attack to then use Sealed Fate. And that, coupled with the extra hit from Stormcaller, is how we are actually able to deal like this 185,000 damage that we need to deal, you know, coupled with Stormcaller, in order to push him from roughly 50% health to 0. That's really the only reason why this strategy works. And it's such a good strategy. Like, honestly, we are so glad when we found that out, that we were actually able to do this. And yeah, here she is. Here is the Paintress. So final boss fight, technically. I think the fight itself like kind of speaks for itself once again. You know, you see a lot of lightning dances. CL will also be doing a lot of damage now because we have set her up to do that. Like, she's basically our main damage healer. She will probably do even more damage than Lune at this point. However, the thing that we also have to do is we basically have to parry all of her attacks. We don't have to parry the first one, where she summons the meteors, but afterwards basically have to parry all of her attacks because we need the damage and we need to put her through the threshold at specific points. Ah, that was too early. Okay. Never mind, never mind. I was a little bit off my counting there. It happens. Like, this is the only attack that you can still dodge. Like I said, all the others you actually have to go ahead and parry here. Because the thing is, you really want to push her into her second phase, because, you know, of course this boss has a second phase with a specific counter to one of her specific attacks, or a counter to a specific attacks of her. And that is why we are kind of, you know, very particular with which attacks we're doing at this point. So let's see how this goes.
Not looking good.
Okay. It's coming out.
How cruel of your father to use you like this.
Okay, there we go.
Watch out. Not impressed.
Again, it doesn't have to be a perfect dodge. You just have to survive this one.
Manage.
Now we need C rank to be able to use leadership, so we need one shot there.
Let's push forward.
Gonna keep using elemental trick with Lune. But the fun thing with alt set, it always hits your whole party with all the buffs, so I don't know why there is even you know, a quick time event for that move. Like, it does absolutely nothing. You can just fail it, and it does the same outcome.
Who are you supposed to be?
Okay, so far so good. Now, it's always the next attack that she does that we have to parry, that I'm always a little bit nervous about, so let's see how it goes. But again, we need the counter attack of her next attack to push her into phase 2. Like, we need that to happen, otherwise our whole strategy falls apart, basically. That is why we also do not want to push the phase on CL's attack. Like, we want the Paintress to have a little bit of health left, just a little bit. Ah, too early. Damn it! But yeah, that's like really the harrowing thing about this run. Like, you make it this far into the run, like, you know, it's really close to the end at this point. and then you make a single mistake and it basically sends you back minutes because you have to do the whole fight over from this point. You really start back at step 1 again. So sorry about this, but this is really just, you know, what can happen on this run. So we're just gonna go through this again. No.
Lightning darts.
All right, count it out.
Cruel of your father to use you like this.
Not impressed. Get ready.
Careful now.
Careful now.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
I think
That works.
worth it.
Let's push forward.
All set again.
Do you understand what you've done? You killed him.
Okay, cool.
Who are you supposed to be?
Okay. Like again, you got like a 9-frame window roughly to get any of these parries in. And you know, if you're this far into the run, like everything rides on getting them, you can get a little bit nervous about it.
Time to take risks.
Okay, Shadowbringer. Alright. Alright, let's try this again.
You can't betray Verso like this.
Alright, there we go. Alright, that was the first phase. We're not out of the blues just yet. We still have to go through the second phase. Now, she only gets 2 turns in the second phase. The big paintbrush and then flies into the air. We have to parry 2 of the paintbrush attacks. We can dodge the third one, but we have to parry the first 2 strikes. Or, you know, any combination of them. We can dodge 1, we have to parry 2. And then when she flies into the air, that will be the last attack. And as long as we're able to dodge that, we are home free.
Maximum damage.
Let us stay.
It's gonna set everybody up again for lightning dance and the other things.
Time to strike. Do me.
All right.
Oh well.
So these should be the last 2 enemy attacks that you see in this run, period.
He used your face. How little he understands me.
Okay. And now we just have to dodge. 5 hits.
Did I dream the fire? Is Verso still alive?
All right, and we're home free. Yeah, I mean, that can still happen. If you just use the wrong ability at this point, you can still screw yourself over. So as long as I just follow my notes, everything should be fine. So we attack with Verso. We apply powerful. You know, powerful. We do this. Yes, yes, okay. And then CL should take us home with a gradient attack. Into Sealed Fate. All right, and then we have the third phase to go through still. I lied. Also, I kind of didn't, because she really isn't attacking you anymore. She's either healing you, please don't heal Verso, or protecting you. Okay, cool. Like, she can either, you know, heal or protect one of your expeditioners here. It's like, it's the same chance for any of these to happen, so you have basically a 1 in 6 chance for Verso to get healed at this point. The only reason you don't want Verso to get healed at this point is you would lose the damage bonus from Berserk Slash here. Now you might be wondering, okay, why are we not calling time, right? This was obviously the final boss, right? We set out to defeat the painters so she doesn't paint death again. And, well, if you've paid attention, you might have noticed that we were still in the second act this whole time. And there are rarely any stories that only have 2 acts. So this is basically the point in the game where, you know, it pulls back the curtain and kind of tells you what is actually happening in the story. Now, I will not spoil this for you. I won't say any more about this. I mean, you get a little bit spoiled by just, you know, watching this scene right here in the conversation. So maybe, you know, look away for a minute or two if you don't want to get spoiled anymore. You know, there are so many theories that people have when they start playing this game, especially when they set out on the expedition and meet the white-haired man on the beach. But I don't think anybody really saw coming what was happening, like, right here, and what is, like, you know, quote unquote, actually going on in the story. Like, it was really, really well crafted, like this whole scenario, this whole getup, and it just really hits you at this point as well. But suffice to say, we are now going into the 3rd act of the game. This is the last part of the game. It's like about 10 minutes-ish, I want to say, out from calling time here. So we will sadly go a little bit over estimate, but I think it should be fine still. The funny thing is the last boss in this game literally is a menu. Like I said this before while we were fighting the painters, right? Like, those are the last 2 enemy attacks you should be seeing. And I wasn't kidding. Like, we still have to go through, you know, the big bad at the end of Act 3, but he won't even be getting a turn. Yes, not a single one. I mean, he kind of does, but he doesn't do anything with it. Because the last boss is a menu. And you will see that menu happening in a little bit here. For now, we just have to go through more story stuff that is happening. We don't have Monaco in our group right now, so I can't switch over to him, but we'll be able to do so in just a moment once we actually get reunited with our whole party here. But yeah, time is running out for you guys to go ahead and meet that incentive for us to actually watch the Verso ending, in contrast to the other ending that we are going for, because it is faster. But yeah, Sid, we're just doing a bit of story stuff right here, so if you want to plug anything and keep us updated on incentives either for this game or the next ones, go ahead.
Sure thing, sure thing. Well, we have been talking about the incentives for this game quite a bit, and they're on screen right there. You still have just a little bit of time to meet those, of course, but we also have incentive for the next game, Super Mario Odyssey. As a matter of fact, we have 2 bid wars going for that one. We have the language choice bid war, where currently Dutch is in the lead by €5, because, of course, we're the Benelux Speedrunner gathering. Of course it's going to be Dutch. Unless, of course, you do something about it. And then we have another bid war, which will be a little bit later into the run, like maybe an hour or so, where we can get to decide whether we do Harriet first or Topper first in the 2 brutal fights in Bowser's Kingdom. And no bids in that one currently, so that one is still very much up for grabs.
Well then. I mean, those sound like pretty fun incentives to go ahead and meet. I don't know about you guys. Like, I want to see that happen. So, yeah. Keep the donations coming, everybody. You have about, yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I want to say maybe like 7 more minutes in this one in particular. And then, you know, you have the intermission going on. And then that run will already happen. So, yeah.
Sadly, we do not have a French option for the language choice, which I think would be very fitting for Clair Obscur. But we do have German for Aeshmah right here, so you know we can put German in the lead.
All right, I guess Monaco is still in the lead right here.
Sure is.
And also, yeah, like this track, absolute banger. And hey, we made it back to the start of the game. Lumiere has changed a bit, I think, you know, since we left about 2 hours ago or so. It's got a bit of an overhaul with people fighting literally in the streets. And once again, we're not taking any of the optional encounters here. Like, we basically have... I don't want to say we have everything we need for the final boss fight. We're still going to do one little shopping and menuing. But there's really nothing that we need to pick up around here. So we can't just go on a straight line to the finale right here and just, I guess, enjoy the music. Because it's superb. It's really good. So I'm just going to shut up and let you enjoy it. I mean, while we're going on here, just to be able to wrap up a little bit quickly at the end here, I'm only going to do my shoutouts. Obviously, big shoutouts to the Clair Obscur speedrunning community. You are an absolutely awesome bunch. In particular, like, Zero Lead for coming up with basically the whole routing for this particular category that we're running right here. Like I said before, we started with quite a few people, going in different directions when it came to routing this. Everybody trying out like different things that we can do, and then Zero basically came in with an intervention, like quite literally, with CL there. Oh my god, it's so dark, I can't see where I'm going. There it is. And like really populated that particular skill into all of our routes until everybody just changed over to him. Also, big shout outs to one Cardinal who basically found not every single glitch and bug and whatnot in the game, but a lot of them, and I want to say most of them. So he just poured his heart and soul into glitch hunting in this game, and I think he's like in the quadruple digits of time played for this game alone, which is like staggering. Also, a big shout out to Samos, which is one of the new verifiers on the moderation team for this game, who is just pouring absolutely bogger-standardly amount of time into not only verifying runs but also interacting with the community, while also chasing down like world records on some of the category. Like, he is, I really want to say, one of the premier runners for this game at the moment. So do give him a follow if you want. There are a lot of other phenomenal runners in this game as well. Like, just the size of this community is just completely staggering to me. Like, when we started out, like Vodi really established the speedrun community for this game, like the Discord and everything, and we were just a really small team at that point, but the community kept growing at such a rapid pace. Like, I think we are at like 1,500 members in just the speedrun Discord for this game, like at this moment. And this is like only like what, 3 or 4 months after the game came out, which is just unbelievably big. Like, none of us really thought that the game would catch on that much, but it is just a really phenomenal game that you all should go out there and play at least once at some point, because it just deserves it. Like, it absolutely does. If you had any qualms or, holding you back about wanting to play this game, don't. Just go out there, buy it, and really experience it, because it absolutely deserves it. Like I said, the last boss is a menu. Just gonna do a little bit of setup here, because Mayel is now super strong. So she will be our main damage dealer for the last boss fight. What am I missing? Not anything. Okay, cool. And we also need to set up CL just a little bit, and then we need to do a little bit of shopping, a little bit of powering up, and then we're ready to go for the last boss fight. But yeah, speedrun community, absolutely insanely great. I'm very much grateful that I'm, was able to take over from Bodhi a little bit later to, help guide the community and, help them out with whatever it is they need help with, like setting up new categories and whatnot. Like, we actually just recently introduced another category to leaderboards, the All Achievement category, which Ari_Doc19, which herself is a very prominent Horizon speedrunner of Zero Dawn, and I think also Forbidden West. Like, she spearheaded the routing for that category, and doing phenomenal work. Like, we are actually able now to get all achievements in roughly 6 hours, which is just insanely good. And insanely fast to boot. So yeah, huge shout outs to all these guys. If I didn't mention your name, don't worry. It's not because I don't like you or anything. It's just because there's so many of you. And I can't shout out every single one of you, sadly. But, you are an awesome bunch. A little of being part of this community, and, keep going for the records, everybody. Okay, and now we just have to level up Medallum to 16. And we just need to do one... We don't necessarily need to do this fight per se. Like, it has a bit of contention in the community. Like, should this be a required fight or not? Because the game very clearly makes it look like it should be a required fight, like the whole way it is set up. But you can, for some reason, just flee from it. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but they also haven't touched it in any of the patches. So it is a fair game. It's not a mandatory fight, so we don't have to do it. So I won't. This is a creation fight. We do want to use this, though, to set up Mayel's HP for the final boss just right after this. So So this is a funny little strategy here where we use last chance with Mayel, and then immediately intervention her to give her another turn. And then we just flee and we run away without letting the enemies get a single turn there. It's a really neat strategy. Like, it really makes you think like, huh, what the hell just happened there? But it just works. All right, putting Verso also in our party, and we are now on our way to the final boss fight. So, like I said before, this guy will not get a single turn. So,
We better make sure we're ready.
yeah. Once again, we're abusing the gradient attack, you know, double turn thingy quite a bit here. But it's like a really precise strategy here, where you need really precise stats and weapon levels. We're gonna set all sets, and we're gonna attack with the Verso, giving 2 quick taps to get to C rank, use leadership. And now it's really important. We're going to use Standall on Mayel, which is an absolutely bonkers broken ability. But we only get 1 perfect and then, not 1 fail, but we won't get the perfect on the second QTE. That is very important. Because that means that he just survives this attack. Like, we dealt about 750,000 damage. He has 766, I think. So he survives that. We then use another intervention on Mayel, so she immediately goes again. And what we do now, because he is basically, you know, very close to death, we use her gradient attack to finish off the first phase of the fight. And because we use the gradient attack, Mayel is still set to get her second turn after the gradient attack, which keeps her in first, keeps getting her the first turn in the second phase. So whatever Renoir was supposed to do doesn't happen, and it immediately switches back to Mayel. And now we just use another Standall, this time at full power, to just immediately kill him off. So we actually overdamage him. He is dead at this point. However, Renoir always has to go through this particular turn where he summons the canvas and powers up. He's normally supposed to do this at the start of the second phase. But since Mayel got the second turn off her gradient attack, that kind of overrode that. And yeah, we just have to, you know, watch this roughly 1-minute cutscene. And as soon as he's done with that, he's immediately going into his final attack for the fight, which, you know, ends the fight as well. So he never actually gets a turn where he gets to attack you. Like, again, the last boss, like I said, is a menu. As long as you set up the menu correctly, Renoir will do absolutely nothing. Which, is it a bit, like, anticlimactic? Yeah, it is. But, well, let's just do speedrun for you, I suppose. Like, the funny thing is also, at the start of Act 3, if you do, like, any exploration, like, at all, you will be so overpowered with this fight anyway. That you will probably just one-tap him. It's just, like, really funny that we are able to do this in the speedrun as well without, you know, having done any quote-unquote post-game stuff or getting even more powerful. Like, just, Mayel is already that powerful. And keep in mind, this is expert difficulty. You know, the game cannot be any harder at this point, technically, unless you use any of the other modifiers. Time is coming up, by the way. We have one more fight to get through, which, well, is against Verso, because we're going for the Mayel ending at this point. Spoilers. Time will be once, you know, the screen fades to completely black after this fight. We don't even give them the dignity of going for a perfect QTE here, because the Brian will already kill him. And time. And I'm just going to go ahead and skip the ending here. So, yeah, I already did my shout-outs to the Obscur community once more. You're an awesome bunch. Happy to be part of you all. Thanks so much for BSG for having me. I have one more run tomorrow, which will be Rise of the Ronin, which I'm actually very excited about, because it will be the first time that Rise of the Ronin will be showcased during a speedrun marathon. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I hope you are as well. And yeah, good luck to all of the other runners for the marathon. I mean, again, I will say that again tomorrow, but especially for those that are running between now and my other run tomorrow. Lovely to be here as always at BSG, and that's it from me for now. So see you guys tomorrow for Rise of the Ronin.
One more round of applause for that wonderful Clair Obscur run. Thank you very much, Aeshmah. Let's go and do a little break. Watch some ads while we set up for Super Mario Odyssey.